What is going on, Fan Clan? Welcome back to the channel. That sounded dorky. It sounds weird when I'm not sitting at my computer. I don't know. I'm still really bad at this. I do have my lapel mic turned on. Last time I used this thing, still not on my lapel for some reason. I'm just still holding it. But last time I used this thing, I didn't have it on. And I was talking during the live stream right before the Indianapolis Regional started. And people were like, hey, Fanny, nobody knows what you're saying, dude. You're really bad at this. And I was like, yeah, I'm really bad at this. I totally agree. Anyways, it's Wednesday. We had a live stream earlier today, which was fantastic. Absolutely amazing. We pulled the alternate art Umbreon V, and then a few packs after that, we pulled the alternate art Rayquaza VMAX. It was absolutely insane. We were chasing the Moonbreon. We didn't end up pulling it, but we pulled like an alternate art Galarian Slowking. We pulled some absolute bangers, and it really got capped off at the end with the Evolving Skies. That was so great, so great. But the reason I am recording this at 11:15 at night is because I still have a lot of work to do. But I've been doing a lot of work, so this is more of like a different vlog. I told you I was going to try and do some different stuff, just because I don't really like sitting behind a computer all the time talking about the market, especially right now. Like right now, it's very frustrating because the prices are going so insane and nobody really knows what's going on, and it's tough to really understand. Like sometimes this stuff just happens. The important thing to remember is the market is cyclical. It goes up and down, like it moves, and things will even out eventually. But I wanted to do more fun stuff. I want to get out to leagues more. I want to play competitively more. But in this video, the reason that I'm recording this now is because Twilight Masquerade is still coming tonight. It is super delayed, and it won't be here for like an hour. So like midnight, it is going to be late when it gets here, and then I've got to unload it all. So this is going to be like an all-nighter, which is unfortunate. However, I do want to show you behind me. Can you see behind me? So this, I'm actually we're just gonna do it like this. This should be easier. I can't see anything. I'm sure there's a way to like change my phone, but I'm really bad at this. So we're just gonna go like this. Anyways, this is all bulk. So the company that is bringing all of the Twilight Masquerade stuff is going to take this all back with them. So this is what I've been doing over the past several hours, just kind of getting all of this set to go. So it's on pallets at the bottom here. So this is just priority flat rate box with 7K cards on it. So we've got like rares over here. There's energy over here and a bunch of other stuff. And I actually just stretch strap everything together to make sure that it stays on the truck fairly well. Last time I did this, I traded for a bunch of like booster packs. I don't know. I don't think I'm trading for anything this time. There might be some modern stuff that I trade for, but lots of bulk. When we can get to like pallets worth of bulk, it becomes a lot better. So over here, this is a bunch of stuff over here that's more like, I tried not to fill it up too high with 5 rows, just because then it gets super heavy, and then it would be tough to move even with a pallet jack. So a bunch of bulk here, commons and uncommons mostly, but also hollow rares, reverse hollows, and things like that. And then over here is the third pallet. There's also a couple of 5 rows of ultra rares, so like just bulk ultra rares, just like V cards, things like that. And I figured that I would just kind of show what this looks like, because a lot of people don't get to see behind the scenes stuff. A lot of people ask, hey Fanny, what do you do with bulk? I've recorded videos on it before. Like we kind of send it all off to bigger companies who then sort it and sell it in lots and things like that on Amazon. Like they're tough to find, and they usually only take like millions at a time, like insane amounts. But you can kind of look around if you go through this much bulk. Otherwise, there's other companies obviously that do take bulk in, not at the rates that it used to be. I remember when Guardians Rising, Sun and Moon Base, Crimson Invasion, when those came out, you could get 6-7 cents for a common and uncommon, which was absolutely insane. It is nowhere near as good as that. Even like right when the pandemic was starting, bulk rates were getting a little bit better. It was like 3 to 4 cents if you looked hard enough. I think Rebel Clash was like the last set where we got 3 to 4 cents, maybe a little bit after that, but eventually the bottom just fell out, and it fell down completely. So now it's even more difficult to get really any value for bulk. That's why we talk a lot in videos about like cards that you want to remove from bulk, and why it's so important to pay attention to those to really help your collection out. Like I was talking about this earlier on stream, but like finding those earthen vessels, somebody had told me that they had, pulled out some Forest Seal Stones, and they were going to sell them off, or they were going to trade them off a while ago, and they didn't. And now look at them now, now they're like $3 cards, which isn't bad for a hollow rare still, but it's not as good as the $14-15 that it was at one point in time. And I tried to emphasize like Dragapult EX, for example, in Twilight Masquerade is going to be a very, very well in demand card, like right out of the gates. Like people are are going to want that card for competitive decks, especially with the North American International Championships coming up. So if you do pull one, maybe trading that off right away or selling it off right away or trading it off and trying to get the value out of it so that way you can put that into a different piece for your collection. I know it's very frustrating with the way things are going with alternate arts right now, but that, I mean, pulling Dragapult EX right now and trading that off or selling it off for store credit, whatever it is, can put, $15 extra in your pocket that you can use toward an Umbreon V or a Rayquaza VMAX or something, and keep doing that rinse and repeat over and over again. I feel like I'm shaking so much right now because I'm absolutely exhausted, but that's okay. So I'm going to put the camera down for now, but I wanted to show off basically what we do for bulk to get it all set to go. And then pretty soon Twilight Masquerade will be here, and then we'll kind of go through that a little bit, and I'll explain what we all do as far as like the shipping process goes and things like that, because it gets super hectic, it gets crazy, but it's a lot of fun and it's enjoyable. This is kind of what I signed up for, so stay tuned. All right, so it is it's actually the next day. It is not Wednesday anymore. It is Thursday now. It is, I don't even know what time it is, like 11 o'clock in the morning. Unfortunately, nothing ever goes the way that you want it to go. Nothing ever goes according to plan. And last night, the order got here later than what we even wanted, what we expected. It didn't end up showing up. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. It was 1:45 in the morning before I finally got all the bulk loaded up and all the new set unloaded, but it's finally here. So at like 2:30, I was like, I'm just going to go crash for a little bit and then just wake up and hit it again tomorrow. So I already recorded the video for today, opening up a case of Twilight Masquerade. I'm really excited about Twilight Masquerade to figure out what's going on with pull rates. Like, things have just been very, very weird, and that's just stuff that, like, I'm a nerd, right? Like, it just, it interests me. But I've got everything. We got 3 pallets of Twilight Masquerade. There's some other stuff in here as well. But basically right now, like, I have to slice all of this open, and I have to go through all of this to make sure that it matches up with invoices. Our distributors are usually like fantastic. Like, they're so good at packing up orders. Like, they do such a great job of packing everything up and making sure that it's, all billed and invoiced correctly. But there have been times in the past where either they sent us something that was too much, and then I make sure that I'm like, hey, we got this, we didn't need it, like, we didn't order it. Do you want me to pay for it still? How do you want me to send it back? How do you want me to do this? That's happened before, or we might be short like a case or something like that. So it's always good to kind of go through everything, and there's a lot to go through. So at the bottom of this pallet down here is a bunch of booster box cases. There's a bunch on the other side as well. Over here on this pallet is a bunch of Elite Trainer boxes. Right here, I went a little bit heavier on sleeve boosters on this than what I normally get, and the last pallet over is a bunch of other booster box cases and other things like that. There's also random stuff in here as well, like these big things right here that are at the top are those are check lane boosters. So a lot of stuff we don't actually typically sell a lot on the website. I don't even post it on the website because they don't move super well. Like these check lane boosters right here, every once in a while I'll put them up as like sleeved innards because they come with a bunch of like little cases of 24 or something like that of the single packs with like the promo card and the coin that's inside. So sometimes I'll put up like cases of those, and then there's 3-pack blisters in here somewhere, and like I said, sleeve boosters right over here, and then over here is ETB. So I'm gonna have to unload all of this. This is kind of just what we go through on a regular basis as far as set goes. Set releases go. Make sure it's all here. I'm trying to get this one out of the way. And then, yeah, there's more sleeve boosters back there and more booster box cases back there. And then a lone Sword and Shield box. This is a lone Sword and Shield base booster box. They do have like a few of the older booster boxes that are out of print. Like you can find, like every once in a while they'll have, some distributors will have like a Unified Minds box or a Cosmic Eclipse box. And you can buy it. You have to pay basically market for it. But they'll limit it to like, well, you can order one or something like that. New set releases, they will still allocate you. Pokemon is still trying to figure out what exactly is going on with how much to print, what demand looks like. So for this set in specific, there was a harder allocation than what was for like Temporal Forces and for Paradox Rift and things like that. So it does seem like they're starting to back off printing a little bit, which is good. It's a good thing because I think we are at the point right now where booster boxes for the Scarlet and Violet generation, they are all over the place out there at discounted prices. You can find them for $80, $90 a piece. Which makes it very, very attractive to the buyer, to the collector, but it struggles for businesses because that's already below wholesale pricing. A lot of wholesale pricing on stuff, especially if you're a newer storefront, you're looking at like $95, $96 for a booster box of a new set, which can be very, very frustrating for a store owner who maybe just started and they're like, well, I'm selling these for $130 because I need to get, my profit margin, or they're selling them for $100 just to try and break even, or they're selling them at $95 and because they have to hit market just to move some product. So it's very difficult right now. I think Pokemon is trying to figure out kind of the sweet spot at where they want to go. Scarlet and Violet is going to be around. I'm like holding this. Scarlet and Violet is going to be around for a long time as far as competitive play goes. Like it's going to make it through the next rotation so that you got like a year and a half at least, or almost 2 full years that Scarlet and Violet base and on is going to be in rotation. So that gives them plenty of time to reprint if they need to. Obviously, Pokemon has loaded up on printing facilities and things like that over the past few years. So Sword and Shield continues to be on its way out, but Scarlet and Violet, which will be around for a while, I think that they can kind of be like, okay, well, we need to reprint Paldea Evolved because it's getting to the point where it's a little bit expensive. It's a little bit out of reach for some people. There's still a lot of loose boosters out there, but for competitive purposes, because it's in circulation, because it's in standard format, we're going to reprint that. They don't have to worry as much about it with some of these newer sets until they run out of product at the warehouse, and then they can make the decision after they move on. But I think that they kind of got into a little bit of trouble with how much Scarlet and Violet base they produced. I think they printed too much of that, kind of like what they did with the beginning of the Sun and Moon era when they printed a ton of Sun and Moon base, a ton of Crimson Invasion, a ton of Guardians Rising, and a ton of Burning Shadows, because you had this big Pokemon Go demand shift, and competitive play started jumping up a lot, and people wanted to collect cards because they were reliving in the nostalgia factor. So they overprinted those sets a ton, which is why we had so much Evolutions product as well, and they don't want to put themselves back in that situation again. So I think they're starting to scale back a little bit. So we're going to break all this open and make sure everything is there. We'll count everything up, and then we can start packing orders. What we do on the website is we focus a lot on bundle deals, which isn't necessarily ideal, so we try and make them as attractive as possible. I really push, I shouldn't say push, but I like it when people, I like opening up a little bit of a new set, but not overdoing it. Having fun with it and then focusing on singles and things like that. Because I don't think it's tough. Like it can be very expensive to chase down, specific cards that you want in a set. Like if you're really chasing this special illustration or Carmine or Parent in the set, like you could theoretically open up 10 cases and not pull it, which can get very frustrating. So we do a bundle where it's 3 booster boxes, it's 1 Elite Trainer box, and that's it. Like it gives you a little bit to open. It's not overly expensive, but it gives you a good idea to fill out master sets with commons, uncommons, reverse hauls, and things like that. And then you focus on singles after that once prices kind of dip down a little bit, and it becomes a lot more affordable to kind of master a set at that point. But very difficult to master a set regardless with how much Pokemon pumps out product, and also how big and inflated the sets are right now. So we have a lot of bundle deals, and that keeps things a little bit easier and more efficient when it comes to packing orders. So a lot of the orders that we have to pack involve 3 booster boxes and then 1 Elite Trainer box. So we can kind of pre-make all of those boxes, so that way as soon as they are ready to be shipped out next week, we can just slap the labels on and they're good to go. Now there are people who order multiples, and then we have sealed cases, which we like shipping sealed cases as sealed cases, because if somebody is a sealed case collector, you want to make sure that you give them a sealed case. So we put that in another box, add the ETBs and things like that. Those we kind of pack up last because we want to keep it as efficient as possible. And then after a while, we do release just single booster boxes if people want to go that route. But a lot of this stuff, like check lanes, we don't put up right away. 3-pack blisters, we don't put up right away. Sleeve boosters, we'll sell by the case at first, and then we'll put up just the sleeve boosters by themselves later on, because that way, once we're doing pre-order packing, like it just keeps things as efficient as possible. And then we'll sell more of it down the road if people still want it, but we want to try and keep everything so that way we can get everything out prior to release day, so that way people get their product by release day, because that's really important. It gets really annoying if you're somebody who's collecting Pokemon cards and you're like, hey, I want to open up the new set on release day. Everybody else is opening up the set. I'm watching all these polls happen on Twitch and on YouTube and on Instagram, and I'm seeing all these great cards, and I don't have any because my product was shipped late or whatever the case may be. So we try and make sure that everything is out and gone and to you prior to release day. So that's what we're going to be working on over the weekend. So that way it's all ready to go out, and then we can kind of filter out orders. Like if it's on people on the West Coast, we can drop all those orders off on Monday because it's 3 to 4 days transit time. People who are on the East Coast, we can drop them off on Tuesday. People who are on the Midwest, we can drop them off on Wednesday and things like that. So we have everything delivered by release day, because it's very important not to break street date, but also at the same time to get stuff there as quickly as possible. So it's all like it's constantly clockwork, like a lot of stuff that's a lot of moving parts. And then there are people who order this, and then they might order a few singles or something like that in addition to their product. So we try and get through all those as well. But we'll pre-make all the boxes, we'll pre-print all the labels, so everybody has their tracking information right away. It all gets automatically emailed to them. So the bulk is gone. All of this is here, and this is all stuff that needs to be gone through now and kind of laid out. And that's going to be basically my weekend is shot. Like my weekend is shot, early next week is shot, trying to record content at the same time as doing all this. But this is the grind. This is what it takes if you're going to be a store owner, especially a Pokemon card store owner. This is what it takes. LGSs do the same thing, who actually own a brick and mortar store. They have to go through all this as well. But this is, if you are interested in ever opening up an LGS for yourself or an online LGS, there's a lot of moving parts, and it can be a lot of late nights, a lot of long hours for small margins, because a lot of times, like right now, market price on these, it's like, I don't know, $108 for a booster box or somewhere around there. So it's not a lot when you're paying $96 wholesale. You're only making, a few dollars profit on a box after you factor in shipping and taxes and fees and things like that. So it's a lot of grind. So definitely make sure you do your research if it is something. But I wanted to show kind of the back end of what it looks like as far as the set release goes. I'm sure you guys have seen stuff like this before, but yeah, I think that's all that I've got. I'm going to get to work and completely ruin my weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. I actually do really enjoy set releases. After I get through this weekend, I get to open up a lot of products, so that way I can calculate pull rates, and we'll go through that. We'll put together the Fanny Master set, and we'll give that to one of you guys. We got a sick binder that was created for us. Again, huge shout out to the same person who did it last time. They custom make a binder for us that we can fill out the Fan Clan Master set and give it to one lucky subscriber. So that video will come this upcoming week as well, with details and all that. It's going to be great. I love you guys. Thank you so much for everything. This work is, I'm just trying to ramble so that way I can avoid this work. It is not looking super enjoyable, but it's got to get done. So I'll talk to you soon. Until next time, peace.